so if you actually look at what's happening when we feel a bit paralyzed about making a decision, and the fear about it, often there's if you unpack it, and it's going to be different depending on your situation, but sometimes often there's a fear of making a mistake. Like we don't want to get it wrong if we make the wrong decision. And so, one of the things that's really useful about self compassion, and again, we know this from the research, is it dismantles what's called fear of failure. So, you might think of fear of making a mistake as very similar to fear of failure, making the wrong decision. Because self compassion creates what's called a learning orientation. It makes it okay to make mistakes because if we do make a mistake, we know we're able to learn and grow from that mistake. So when we feel we've got to make a decision correctly and we don't give ourselves permission to make mistakes, then the stakes become very high. And often that's fed by the idea that, well, if I make a mistake, then somehow that means I'm bad or I'm wrong or I'm a failure. Like we take it personally, the outcome of our decision. We know that failure is our best teacher. We've all heard it. You might even believe it intellectually, but yet we act as if we aren't allowed to fail. But how else are we going to learn unless we make a mistake? So often that paralysis, first of all, you can give yourself compassion for that. Well, of course you don't want to make mistakes. Who does? We don't want us to suffer the consequences, the negative consequences. So self-compassion, first of all, allows you just to kind of do the best you can. I might say to myself something like, now you don't have to do this if it doesn't feel right, but I kind of sometimes call myself like sweetheart because I call my son sweetheart. So I might say something like, okay, sweetheart, this is really scary. You don't know what to do, but this seems to be the right decision. And we're just going to try it. And if it doesn't work out, we can quickly, regroup and try, in other words, it doesn't have to be that. Of course, it depends on the type of decision you're making. Some are more amenable to this as well. But you give yourself permission to make mistakes. That can take some of the resistance to making a decision away.